Hello, this is Mike from the Amish of Ethridge, and I'm filming this on Memorial Day weekend, just before the summer season, just before some of the things that we think of with Amish produce get out. So I guess we could say we're starting to see the end of the strawberries by now. We're starting to see the end of the cabbage, lettuce, more cooler weather vegetables, in the start of things like zucchini, squash, cucumbers, all that kind of thing. Not quite corn and melon season. The peaches haven't come in yet and all that sort of thing. So it's a good time to kind of take a break between the cooler, temperature things like onions and all that sort of thing, and then before the melons and all that sort of thing kick in. So also, I want to talk about some of the things you can find in the Amish community right now that might not be like an onion or a zucchini or something like that, because a lot of people don't know that they have stuff like this right here. This is what's called a cowboy cookie. They have just a small range of ingredients: almond flour, coconut oil, walnuts, unsweetened shredded coconut, raisins, honey, eggs, vanilla, and sea salt. They're about $2.50 for 4 cookies. And they're pretty tasty. They're all homemade from the Amish themselves. Now, this is something that you can get that, like I'm a diabetic, I have an Omnipod 5 stuck to this arm. And it's sugar-free because it is sweetened with things like, honey and raisins. So if you like a really sweet cookie, this probably isn't your cookie, but if you want sort of a balanced cookie, then this is it. And they're kind of interesting. Now, you'll also find kind of a rip-off, if you will, or we'll call it like a doppelganger, okay, of a regular candy that you would see, okay. So this right here is supposed to talk about, or to be mimicking an almond joy. So they just call it almond joys. At the end, they'll put a little S or an X or something to make it just like an almond joy, but not quite. It's kind of an Amish version. So even if you do like a certain particular type of sweet, and you recognize basically coconut with chocolate, it's kind of an almond joy-esque. And of course, there's the staples. The peanut brittle. Now this kind has been kind of stuck together a little bit, which you're going to find. It's just, if you put it in the back of the car, it's going to get hot and it's going to stick together. It's just no other way about it. Now, this is not diabetic friendly, let me tell you. And you can usually tell by the color. If it's darker, it's got a little bit more caramel or something in it, and if it's lighter, it won't. Some of it's kind of thin, depending on the person, the Amish person that's making this. They pour it in a big sheet, put it in their oven, and it comes out like this. They twist it up until it pops out, and then they kind of bust it up to put into these little bags here. And they're like $1 or $2 for this stuff. And you can kind of tell the better. Well, I don't want to say better. It's just that sometimes the more crispy the top and the more loose the middle is, makes it kind of bust up in your mouth. Now, do bring a toothpick or something, because this stuff, or if you've got a bad tooth or a crown or something about to come off, you might want to leave this out. I'm just saying, because it can pull some cavities out. So I'm going to give you little words of wisdom for Mikey Dude here. So anyway, this is a real good snack. If you just love to drive around busting this stuff up, you'll love it. Now, they also have kind of the traditional pecan pies. Now, this is a small variety here. You could pop that out and just be eating it down the road. Sometimes, I'll be honest, we'll leave. Very few of this comes back home with us because we inevitably get in a long line of cars or something, and we'll just eat it going down the road. So, I can't say much about that. However, here's some more things that you probably wouldn't expect to find, is that they have a, let me open it. That's so rude of me. Did you see that? I was just going to, it's probably going to be a little loud. These are commercial containers they just buy and fill up. You can buy them by the hundreds. It's a cupcake, so as you could tell, they buy these from a superstore and then just wrap them, place them, and then make their own. This one is a chocolate, but it has strawberries inside of it, so it's super interesting. One of them's gone because my daughter picked it out, and I'm not gonna not let her do something just to show it on camera. You know what I mean? I try to make sure this page is not all about me. It's about you guys finding what you want in the Amish community. And so I don't do a lot of these videos, but anyway, that's one of them. So that's the chocolate-filled strawberry chocolate cupcakes. They're $5 for these 6. It's a great deal. If you're wondering where this is, it's coming up. If you're wondering what these jars, yes, keep on watching. So anyway, these are some of the things you can find within the Amish community. And what I'm going to do is just sort of set these off right here at the moment, because we got other things we want to talk about. That is for sure. And if you talking about these chocolates and stuff, if you do go later in the day, sometimes they're all bought up. There's only a few places that have them. A lot of times you'll find the bakery type stores. They tend to get bought up. They only basically they spend all week trying to produce for Friday and Saturday. And of course on Sunday they bring what they've made to church and such because they like to feed everybody. They kind of have a thing where they do that. And they'll have cookouts, or not really a cookout, but a kind of a potluck type thing where they'll get together. And that's how they don't have Facebook, they have Facebook, right? You know what I mean? So they have to communicate directly with each other. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about right here is some of the farmers markets on the way back from the Amish community. It's like this. I'm just going to level with you right now. About 70% of what comes to our Ethridge Amish community is from Alabama and parts of Mississippi. They're coming up. It isn't Nashville traveling down. It's people in Alabama coming up, and also people from the east and the west. They'll take on Highway 64 and they'll come in that way. So a lot of times you're gonna pass other communities coming here, which is fine. I would love for you guys to come here, and you'd probably want to know if there's something, different that you can see along the way. And our farmers communities here in Lawrence County, they have a very strict order about them. They will not let you set up unless you yourself, you personally are making your vegetable or produce or something like that. So what I mean by that is, for example, if you produce, like, say this is Lamb's Ferry Road, or some raw honey from Lamb's Ferry Road. If you make this, they're going to make sure to know that you made it. You're not buying it from somewhere else and then just redistributing somebody else's stuff. I know a lot of people get into this thing about how the Amish are the only ones that can make produce of certain kinds. It's not true. There's a lot of farmers that are English that I believe have a lot better product at the end of the day. And some of them don't spray near as much. And I get that. Some Amish spray like crazy. Some Amish won't spray at all. But they know what they're doing. So they can make produce that, in my opinion, like I say, I live here, and it's just sometimes better, all right? I've eaten both types of tomatoes, and sometimes I'll prefer the Amish variety, and then sometimes I'll actually prefer the English variety. So what I'm going to do in this is that, or this next stage, stick around, is that I've got kind of it's not really a scientific test. This is kind of my opinion, but I'm going to personally show you guys with this little apparatus. As I said, I work in engineering, and what I want to show, I'm going to do it right here in front of you guys. No stop, one take, no mistake is kind of how I see it. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you the viscosity of some of the Amish varieties of molasses. The reason I say this is because they're a little thicker And I'm going to taste some because this is my stuff. I bought it. I'm testing it in front of you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a spoon. I'm going to kind of get the same amount, and I'm going to show you how fast it runs down. The thinner stuff typically isn't. It's like anything else. The thicker stuff seems to go better than the thinner stuff. I think we all know what that means. Like if you got a jelly and it's a grape jelly, and you splash it on a biscuit and it just runs off the biscuit, that's not a good jelly to me. I want a good thick, nice coating. Just when you bite into it, it almost pushes the jelly out of the biscuit. I want to kind of almost hold it in the biscuit while I eat it, because that's a good thing. I mean, it's just like a butter or something. If you couldn't even get it to firm up in a refrigerator, then I'm going to question that butter. So I like to see the more thicker, firmer, varieties, and that seems to hold in a taste profile that I seem to really enjoy as well. So we're going to start off with one that I've kind of had to help, and the reason, if you know anything about certain varieties of molasses, I've had this one about a year. It's from the Mennonite group in Delano. Now, they call themselves kind of an Amish Mennonite, but don't let that tell you anything. They are Mennonite, all right? I've been to all their communities, and anyway, the one in Delano is probably the most famous, and anyway, there's one in, let me just kind of get some on here. The reason I say I'm going to start with it is I did have to put this particular jar in water in order to get this kind of broken up. So it's going to look a little different, okay? And I'm going to kind of put another one in there just to show you. So anyway, let me just kind of get one. And here we go. And we're going to show how long it takes to get that to go all the way down. I'm going to get my paper. Oh, crap, I didn't do it. Oh, I had a paper towel and it's in the floor. Here we go. It went underneath my desk. Oh. All right. Because I don't want to mix them and then somehow get it to somebody say, well, you didn't get that other one a fair chance. Well, I'm gonna give them all a fair chance. I'm gonna clean the spoon after each one. Now this one right here happens to be from the Section Alabama group. Whoops. That's good. It's very thick. What? Let me just taste it too. Because it's brand new. I just got it. Oh, that's really good. My grandpa Henry Pilkington lived right across the street from us there at High Avenue. There in Ethridge. I'm going to just taste this while I got it. I actually prefer the one from Section. Anyway, my grandpa Henry loved sorghum, cane molasses. Anyway, here's some homegrown molasses. Now, this is from my friend, longtime buddy, Joe Gingrich. Come on, run. His is very thick. Now, he uses the horse method that marches around in a circle. That's good stuff. Got some on my wood. Anyway, his super good. So that's the Amish variety that I just poured. Anyway, Grandpa Henry loved him some molasses. He would walk all over that Amish community. And anyway, so molasses and me go way back. Alrighty. Well, this one might take a while too. Now this one's an interesting molasses from the Muddy Pond Mennonite community. A lot of people think they're Amish too. Went and met with them. They are Mennonite. There's actually 3 Mennonite churches right there. Now they've had Amish, and They have people that's not either one, but you'd swear we're Amish. So a lot of stuff, a lot of things live in Muddy Pond. I'll just say it that way. It's not a knock on nobody. I'm just saying that there was a lot of different groups, different things, that all lived at Muddy Pond. Now this one is a test as a, I don't know, I guess it's kind of a, what can you get somewhere else? Yeah, it's just not the same. It's the grandmas from Walmart. I felt like getting their best that I could get at our particular Walmart. So going from, let me do it this way. That way I can remember. So starting here, that is the Mennonite from Delano. Then it's the Mennonite from Section, Alabama. Joe Gingrich of 225 Dooley Road. The Muddy Pond variety. And the grandmas. So that's where those kind of come out, all right? So we're going to let those kind of sit, if you will. And through the power of video editing, I'm going to have to stop the one camera and all that sort of thing to let them run for like a full 30 minutes or so. I want all of them to kind of get to the point where they dried, crystallized, and all that stuff. And it tells you kind of the profile of the molasses, all right? So anyway, I'm going to stop and come right back. All right, well, it's been about 20 minutes since I stopped, and as you could tell, some of them never reached the bottom. These particular types of molasses were thick enough to where they can just, they pretty much got gelatinous and just stopped flowing altogether. Now, what does that mean? That means you're going to have a very thick layer of molasses on whatever you put that on, because it's not just going to run away. So anyway, now it might be my taste. Now this is just purely speculative on my opinion. Which one, I guess, won? Well, I guess I could start at the bottom, and that's probably no surprise to anybody here. The bottom is grandma's here at Walmart. As soon as you taste it, compared to some of these other ones, it's not even in the running. And I'm not saying it's because it's from Walmart. It has nothing to do with it being from Walmart. It has everything to do with, as soon as you pop it in your mouth, it tastes just not as good as these other ones. Now, it compared to some of the other, I guess, store-bought varieties, it tasted better than those, and that's why I decided to put it in, because a lot of people can find it, where these other ones, you're going to have to go to the communities. I would say when it comes to the one that I also didn't care as much for, and that's the one here at Delano, and I believe because I had to kind of save this jar by, there is a trick. If it does become sort of one gelatinous mass, what you do is you put a pan, or a big pan in the water, on a stove, fill it up with water, put the jar in there, and let the water warm around the jar. If you cook it, it will turn a little bit gross. I'm just saying. Warm the water, then put the jar in there, let it sit, just walk away. It will kind of permeate the glass and make kind of this foamy stuff. And I didn't want to use that jar to judge an Amish or a Mennonite community, so I included this one right here. It's from the Section, Alabama community. Now, I know if you're watching this about the Amish of Ethridge, this might be a little bit foreign to you. There are a community of old order Mennonite that are actually more conservative than the Swartz and Truber Amish. They are of an order that is extremely conservative. They don't use water pumps. If it isn't hand powered like a hoe or something, they don't use it. So it's very conservative, very, very strict. But they have a common store. And anyway, there's Delano, Tennessee. It's just outside of Chattanooga. Then they have the Tellico Plains Mennonite, and then up into Inglewood is the other store. It's just outside of Inglewood. All three of those have a a store anyway with them, but they're the same kind of Mennonite. It's kind of like we have the Ethridge Schwarzentroober, the Stantonville Schwarzentroober, and then the Morrison Schwarzentroober, and they're all the same. Actually, a lot of people that came out of Ethridge made those two communities. So when you go, it's very similar. And I didn't want to use this jar to judge their, and I know what happens is that if I said I want to judge the community by this jar that I had to kind of help, it didn't seem like it went well. So in all fairness, let's judge it on this one here. You can see the two jars. You can see that they're massively different. So let's judge them on this one. I would say that it's probably in second place behind Joe Gingrich's variety right here. Now, how does this look on the map? Or if you guys remember, we started off with this one. This first one on this side, that happens to be the one from Delano. The one right next to it is the one from Section, Alabama. The middle one that, see, it never reached the bottom. It's the only one to have not reached the bottom. But that comes from my friend Joe Yoder, or Joe Gingrich. Why do I call him Joe Yoder? Anyway, so I would say that was in first place because of my taste. You know what I mean? Now, the Muddy Pond variety, that one was super good also. I don't think it would be kind of a close, almost a tie for second, but I'm going to say it's third because I did like the one from Section, Alabama better than the one from Muddy Pond. And that's just my taste. You might like the grandma's better. I don't know. If you eat enough of grandma's, you're probably going to like it better because it's familiar. The Ethridge varieties of molasses I just like better because I'm used to it. I'm spoiled to it. I mean, let's just face it. I'm the Amish of Ethridge guy. I go throughout the community and find just about everybody that's got it. I know how they make it. Now the ones on Brooks Hughes Road have a different method. They have a lot of them have this more modern looking grinding system, and I know that's good, but you know what I mean. Joe here uses let's put a horse or a mule or a donkey or something, and it walks in a circle around this pole, and it's kind of done the old-fashioned way. It's got a mechanism too. It pretty much crushes the cane and the stuff comes out the bottom. Then he takes that through a system of heat, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's really neat, all right? And of course the Muddy Pond variety is made just like Joe's, and that's why I think their taste profile is somewhat similar but not exact. So I think that's a pretty neat test if you want to look at what they do here on a piece of paper, kind of their color. You can obviously see a different color, all that sort of thing. So that is a neat, unscientific way for me to kind of test the different types of, well, molasses here that you're going to find throughout Tennessee and, well, parts of Alabama. All right, let me try. We'll get this one out of the way. Put this one up here. Now we're going to do a little bit about Amish honeys versus other honey. This is going to be interesting. I tell you what, I get kind of spoiled now. Now, there's a few of them here. Like I say, this is going to be a honey from Arkansas, the Amish here in Salem. Yeah, Salem, Arkansas, versus a honey that is in Lamb's Ferry. Now, I want to purposely avoid the Amish of Ethridge honeys, just because I want to go through a bunch of them, and I feel like it'd be somewhat unfair at this particular test. That's because I'm also going to involve this. It's the Whiskey Trail bees from Kelso, Tennessee. It's a honey. It's this kind of a specialty honey. You could find at a lot of these Mennonite stores. I got this one at the Swiss Pantry. So what we're going to do is a few of these. Just kind of cleared the spoon. I know you're watching me do that. So I'm going to start off with the Amish honey from Salem. We're going to see how long just a dabble of honey takes to reach the bottom. That tells you kind of how thick it is. Whoa, that is a thick piece. That might not be a very good way to test it. So let me try this. Kind of a smaller ball, since there's not that many tests. Now the Amish, they do the bees really well, and they have a really good honey. And I've probably ate more of it than anything. Now the Lamb's Fairy, it's extremely good quality. It's also extremely thick. I don't know if this one would be able to run to the bottom even if you made it. Because look at that. I mean, you could just turn it upside down. Let me just kind of try it. Also a good honey. Now, I've never tried this one. This is new to me. Like I say, I just got it. And I know everybody's thinking cross-contamination, and I get that. But I'm just trying to make something for everybody. Oh, that's a good one too. It's a little lighter though. It doesn't have that hit you in the face honey taste, you know what I mean? Let's just do it this way. Since there's not that many of them, I probably prefer the Lamb's Fairy to the Amish. These are real close though. Just the first thing. I want to do more of these little comparisons. But as you could tell, that's a pretty thick honey coming from the Lamb's Fairy. And that means you're going to get a real good coat. It's thick. It's not as just not running everywhere. So, of course, you'd have to almost heat it up if you wanted it to run everywhere. So it's going to give us an idea of different honeys. But I will go through and judge these honeys against a few more Amish honeys. The reason I want to say that is because you can get a very thick, dark, almost molasses style honey from the Amish here in Ethridge. You can also get a very light, almost dandelion honey here in Ethridge. So that's what I wanted to kind of talk about. So I had to pick a winner, even though I said that I like this one the best because of the texture and all that sort of thing. I'm probably going to pick the Amish honey as being a little bit better than this one, because if you blindfolded me, I would only tell the difference between the texture. This one had probably the least amount of honey flavor, but really good, solid as far as profile here. It was a very consistent honey. This one is, like I say, it is a bit older. I've had it for a little while, and it's starting to kind of crystallize, so I'd have to heat it up or something to get it back in a state like this one. But this one had everything. I've had it for a couple months, and it's pretty good because the Amish and Mennonite of Tennessee page gets me to go all over the place too. So that's pretty interesting. So anyway, so that if I had to pick a winner, it's the Amish honey. But stay tuned for other videos where I'm going to talk about several different Amish honeys from Ethridge, comparison to some of the other honeys that are available through some of our friends and such that do, keep bees and such, that you're going to get kind of the same quality, if not more, if that makes any sense. So anyway, be looking for that video. So let's talk about some eggs here. I'm going to kind of do a little video editing type magic, and we're going to clear some of this stuff off so I can get on to these two right here, these eggs. These are quail eggs. So let's talk about them. All right, now I will say this one is probably a little less in comparison, and that's only because, oh man, this is, now, a lot of people might be a little, how do I say, okay, I'm gonna say it like it is. There's so many times that the English actually produce a way better product than the Amish. I'm gonna say that. I know it might hurt some people's feelings, but when it comes to certain things, I don't know what it is. Some of these guys, they're like us. and they want to produce the best quality product possible. They're going to look into how to make it phenomenal. They're going to look through every little spice, and they're going to really go into a lot of trouble for it. The Amish, their thinking is a little bit more utilitarian. As long as you can get it kind of close and it's good enough for the Amish. So the way they kind of see it, now I'm going to try to say it the way they told me, or several of them have told me. If they go out, and just pursue this perfect product by these spices and all that stuff, it's almost as if you're promoting ego and pride by trying to be better than it should be. Or, basically don't be wasting your time trying to make, say, for example, this quail egg into this quail egg. And you could tell in the taste. So this is from the Bird Farms, or TR Bird Farms. It's at 200 Fisher Hollow Road, Loretto, Tennessee. Now, they make this at their house. They make chicken eggs. You could buy a big thing of chicken eggs here. They go up at the farmer's market. Now, of course, I'm always a big fan of the farmer's market. And let's talk a little bit about the Loretto Farmer's Market. To some degree, the Lawrenceburg Farmer's Market. Now, they're going to be a little more open to things. You're going to find a lot of things that are made that they've kind of bought and then sort of modified a little bit more at the Lawrenceburg Farmers Market, which is, it's good. Go to both of them. Lawrenceburg's Farmers Market usually starts in June. They're always on the square. It's on Saturday mornings. So for some of you guys, you'd have to start at the Farmers Market if you're coming from Alabama up, and then do the Amish, which is fine. Now, the one thing cool about the Loretto Farmers Market is it starts at 4 or 4:30 on a Friday afternoon. That means you can go up, do all your Amish, things on Friday morning. Get to do the Plowboy Produce Auction, all that sort of thing on a Friday. Get something to eat, all that sort of thing. Finish out your day, and then at 4:30, by the time you're coming back out of the community, so if you want to do a little shopping at the square or something, you can hit it on your way back home. So that way, if you still got some cash and you want something that's really cool, that is personally made. Now, they're very strict at the Loretto Farmers Market. You've got to be you got to be this guy. They won't let you set up unless you personally made it. No buying crops out of Alabama, bringing them up here just to sell. No, you better be in your field. So let's stress that right off the bat. So anyway, so I want to eat some of these right in front of you, just to kind of give you a test. That because I just bought these today. I went and bought these just so I can compare them, just to show you guys on camera. So I spent $20 because they're $10 a jar on this particular test. Now, quail eggs are kind of a delicacy. They're a small little chicken egg, but they're so much more than a little chicken egg. They're, of course, a little bird egg. I get that. Definitely more expensive for these than chicken eggs. And here is that same variety. Let me get that. You take the little lid trick. There is a special spot. If you can get it just right, you can usually pry these up with the lid without having to do the whole, other trick. Now, you can tell by the way these look in the jar. Let me just spin them without their thing. So you could tell this one's more red than this one. I don't know which one's hotter because I haven't put this one in my mouth yet, but I did get, I got, you're probably wondering where I got these. Peter Miller, if you go up 3 Acres Road off the highway, it's like the first Amish house on the right, or second. Well, I think the first one is a person that does horseshoeing, but the next one, the vegetable stand, that's Peter Miller's, and he makes these in a habanero, which I have here, and he also has these in a jalapeno, which is probably less hot. Now, this one here is a Cajun. It says Cajun hot pickled eggs. Ingredients: eggs, vinegar, water, Cajun seasoning, ground cayenne pepper, red pepper flakes, garlic, jalapenos, ghost pepper sauce. Oh, Let's just see. I didn't bring water. Oh, Michael, why'd you do this? Oh, didn't think about it. I got everything up here, started thinking about this test. If you've watched the first part of the video, if I'm just now finding you, then be sure to go back and look at our test of honeys and the different molasses. So here goes nothing. I'm going to try, since I haven't done this one, let's go ahead and try it. This is a habanero quail egg. Take one. It tastes like what you would think. It's basically a little bit of peppers, a little bit of looks like a store-bought sauce or something that they've kind of mimicked. The Amish are kind of, I don't want to call good or bad about that, but they kind of pick up things and say, I can make that, and you could tell that they've kind of used the same kind of seasoning. But it tastes kind of like an egg, just a straight up egg. That's been sitting in this thing with habaneros. It's not all that hot. Here is one, obviously different in color. It's almost gray. There's no contest. This one right here, which I thought it would be. Like I say, I didn't want to say for sure until I tried this one because I'm very objective. This one right here from the TR Bird Farms, that's the winner by far. Yeah, TR Bird Farms. Now this one is it was made on the 14th of May. It's like the 25th of May. The longer you let that sit, he says, makes it better. I wanted to get this video out for you guys, so I didn't do that. I didn't let it sit for very much longer, but it's not close. It's not even close. TR Bird Farms, like I say, I just met them. I'm doing this on a Saturday. I just met them Friday. Let me just get an egg of both of them next to each other. My Panasonic S1 has the battery or something has died. I don't know. Maybe I reached my limit. Anyway, I'm going to kind of show you guys just by doing it this way. Hopefully this will be fine. You can kind of use the contrast of my shirt, or I'll put a photo behind me on the green screen. You can definitely tell that this egg has sat in a lot longer than this egg. The Amish variety, it's fine. You know what I mean? Both of these, I think this one's $12 and this one's $10. But Spring for the extra $2. He might, I don't know. Maybe if I ask him, he can come off the two to make them the same $10 jar. I don't know. Maybe this varieties of solution that it sits in cost more, but yeah, there's definitely. I mean, this is one of those things. If you blindfolded me and you just sort of stuck an egg in my mouth, well, hopefully we trust each other to that point. But if we did, say for example, we took and I had to guess which one, I could easily guess. And it's just not as good. This tastes just more like an egg. I mean, it has a little bit of a little bit of a signature, that you can tell it's not just a plain egg. But when you put this TR Bird, what's it called? TR Bird Farms. I don't know why I can't remember that. Anyway, when you put that in your mouth, let me just eat one. I kind of want another one of them. That's just good. And quail egg too. Like I say, I'm going to try to get his chicken eggs now. I don't even remember your name. I'm sorry if you're watching this. But so let's talk a little bit about the farm or the farmers markets. And I know most people say, well, I want the Amish community because I want an Amish made product. I want the Amish because they're the best. They're a craftsman. They just make the best stuff ever. And while that is true compared to other products, maybe that come from off a container truck from a country that speaks a different language, I'm just going to say that. You're probably right. However, if it's a craftsman that has all the tools necessary to make a really good product, then you're probably not. And the reason I say that is that I've seen a lot of things that us English make that the Amish just simply won't do it. And I'll bring up the birdhouses. I had some people ask me, well, which Amish make the birdhouses? And I'm like, well, what do you want? And what they described to me wasn't a thing that the Amish make. They're not going to paint you this really nice, elaborate bird box. They're just not going to do it. Now, they might make you something with some color, like they paint their bird homes that does the, what's those called? The little birds that come around. The martins. Okay, martins, because they'll have a gourd or a big home. And they'll be white. They'll paint them. But they'll look plain. And if you go and you, say for example, you go to the Loretto Farmers Market where this lady has a really good quality handmade birdhouse where she's got the angles cut and she's filed and sanded this, what looks like a little miniature log cabin, the Amish aren't going to make you that. So if you want a quality craft item that's handmade by somebody who knows what they're doing, that can go for English or Amish. And I find that if your heart tells you you need a certain type of craft item, it might not be the Amish that make it. So I don't want you to get home and say, well, I got home with this really neat looking cedar box, basically. It's a birdhouse and its function. And then I went to this, artisanal craft fair, and they had this real nice, elaborate thing that I kind of like better. It's probably better off you buy it. I'm not saying I want you to knock all our Amish out of a sale. I'm just saying that if what you want is something that's high quality, high craft, it might not. It might be from one of these farmers markets. So be sure to check out the farmers market there in Loretto. Being that so many of you guys are already going to pass it. Now the Noble Fox has these pizzas that's made in this really wonderful pizza oven. Of course, I'm going to hawk a ticket for Heine's because I love Trip Weagle, his whole family. You know what I mean? We've been friends for years. Both of these places are really good for pizza. The farmers market is right next to the Noble Fox in a way. It's just a walking distance and you're practically at it. And that would be a really good end of a Friday. You know what I mean? They also have a second Saturday that they also do in the mornings. But of course you can't get pizza till that afternoon a little bit. So it kind of makes it difficult if you're trying to do both. But on Fridays, it's very easy to come up here and just spend the day in Amish country, kind of shop at the square for some of their crunchy little items and stuff like that. And then as you're coming back home, hit the Loretto Farmers Market. And that's because I know, it's like, listen, I know the people coming here for the reasons they want to come, all right? For some of you guys, it's all about you want a quality craftsmanship that's put on by somebody who knows what they're doing. And I get that, and they've got that, don't get me wrong. For some people, it's just a cheap way of getting groceries. You don't care anything about the culture. You just want to go because you can get a bulk deal on a bunch of produce and all that sort of thing. And I hear you too. Right now I've got 39,000 going towards 40,000 followers on the Amish of Ethridge Facebook page. I have about 110,000 hits a month on the website. You know what I mean? So, and about 10,000, 11,000 of those are direct clicks. So that's people going there, they're clicking directly. They know exactly what they want. Some of them are finding me through which Amish does something, and they find something on my website. So after a couple of years of this, I've gotten to quite a few conversations. So I know what people want. I want to hopefully give you guys the experience that you want to have. But I know a lot of people want things that the Amish just don't make. So I'm going to tell you about the farmers markets. Also a lot about the Rustic Hinge. The Rustic Hinge is a store made up of about 30-something vendors. All of them have to be within 50 miles of the Rustic Hinge. There's a lady named Rebecca Blade. She will not let you on or in unless you meet her criteria. So is there some things in there that's probably like they bought the pillows and then they just embroidered something on there? You could tell. But there is a lot of things that are handmade, hand finished, the whole deal, that are really great products. And they're the same kind of craftsmanship that the Amish would take, but they don't make that. Obviously, they're not going to make kiln drying. Like there's a place, the guy I think he goes by the Drunken Potter. He makes these almost one of a kind coffee mugs, and never met the guy, so I'm just saying that. Well, obviously you need an oven that's going to require electricity, so and knocks out the Amish. And don't get me wrong, they do use pumps and stuff like that has a spark plug, and I get that, but they're not going to make something like that. But here you have an individual that's just an English person with their with a great eye for detail making these products. So I want you to be able to stop by there and say, okay, this is a one of a kind, cool looking coffee mug, or the Copper Cockerel Coffee Company. That guy, this one guy, and he makes some of it is literally my personal favorite coffee, and he does everything, and it's just, if you've never had it, it's just wonderful. He's there at the farmer's market, but he usually sells his stuff also if you don't go to the market at the Rustic Hinge, which is a really good way to get things. So I want you guys to sort of entertain at least the idea to stop by and see what they have, because you're getting the same, I guess, craftsman or craftswoman. You know what I mean. If I say craftsman, I mean man or woman that make something, and they've put their heart and soul into this product to make it phenomenal. And sometimes that's an English person, sometimes that's a Amish person. So anyway, this has been Mike, the founder and the creator of the Amish of Ethridge. And if you like this kind of stuff, be sure to like and subscribe, to follow. You know what I mean? I do about 90% of this stuff absolutely for free. What I do is I sell courses. Now, some of this is going to be in a course at some point. So be sure to look at the Progeny-Adventure-Group.com, because that's the umbrella group that owns the Amish of Ethridge, the Visit Lawrenceburg, Amish and Mennonite of Tennessee, and many, many, many other businesses that's underneath that umbrella. I am crazy about travel and kids, you know what I mean? And one of the things I'd love to see you guys do is take your kids to the Amish and let them see and hear and sometimes smell all the different things that go on. They're a curious people. They will take you through everything that they kind of see and do if it's, not dangerous, and show you how they do things as an Amish person. So anyway, I think it'd be really neat to take your kids and stuff and see things. Like you can really tell about the auction system at the Plowboy Produce Auction. You can go to Flowers Creamery, where they have a tour and stuff that you can go on to see how they make milk and cheese. Super interesting. They have the Holiday Acres Farms, where they have a petting zoo, and they can show you how they feed things. It takes you all through how you can get eggs basically from the chicken to the grocery store. There's just so many more opportunities to learn things here in Ethridge, Tennessee. So anyway, take the ride with us in the slow lane. This is Mike from the Amish of Ethridge, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. So go ahead and click on our name and just see what else we got. It's just right down there. Anyway, I'm out. Take me an egg along the way. Oh, that's pretty good.